All right, so the installation is completed. Let's first make sure our clusterware is started, and I'm sure you know the command at this time. It needs to execute it from an environment where your aura env is set to your grid home. So a real quick stat, res minus t, will tell you what resource is in what state. Now, by using this, you can confirm whether the database is starting or is meant to be stopped, or what the state is. If it's saying starting, then it's probably on its way coming up. Now, what this resource is going to tell you is the target state and the current state. So in our case, you should be able to find the aura.orcl.db. That's your database resource. Now it should tell you whether it's online, whether it's open, or it's starting, or it's shut down, or wherever the state is. Rest assured, it's going to try to maintain the state. So if you're saying my database is up on one but not on the other, well, that's probably either in the process of coming up, or it might be brought down manually. And this will confirm the resource status very quickly. So to see what is the current state, you can do a srvctl. Mm, mm, cool, perfect. All right, so srvctl status database hyphen d will tell you what is the state. Okay. You can use srvctl start instance using -i or RCL if you want to specify the instance name. Now you could alternatively use the node name rack1. Now it's going to tell you either way in my case that they're both running. Just to show you that it's quite independent object, I can stop that instance on my rack1. And it should be perfectly fine. Now once the instance is stopped, it's perfectly fine to remove that instance. Oops. When you do a remove instance, you can no longer use n, obviously. You have to use instance name. Okay, do you want to remove the instance from database or RCL? You can say yeah, done. Correct. It will running on only a single node. Now, what's funny is you can really literally call it anything you want. You can add a new instance, called it blah, right? Oops. On what node? Obviously, you got to say specify the node here. See, the thing about srvctl is if you're not comfortable with it, just ask it to tell you what it is. So here, this adds a new instance, right? Blah and rack1 -d or cl, and off it goes. And once the instance is added, you can then start the instance. Now, what is interesting is that when you do start the instance, it's mutually exclusive. You either use n or you use I. So if you use n, it's smart enough to know that okay, where am I? Okay, let's copy this so I will have these command available. Now the command, again, you can see that I'm copy and pasting stuff. Okay, that's fine, it's normal. You see that I'm copy and pasting stuff to this day4 node. Now you can find this day4 node on victor.objectmage.com resources and day4 node. And the great thing about the day4 node is it's a live document. So in other words, as I type, you will, as it goes, you're going to see the updates. which is really cool. To troubleshoot from this point on, there is nothing special about this. All that is happening is that your clusterware is faithfully trying to start an instance. It can help you start the instance, it help you add an instance to the registry, but adding an instance does not automatically make your database compatible with the newly created instances. Okay, so just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, when I go to the Oracle directory, right, that's my Oracle base, and I'm going to head over to diagnostic RDBMS location, and that's for the database ORCL. And notice now there's a subdirectory called blah because not here, I suppose. Because behind the scenes, something is trying to raise the blah instance, but if it failed halfway. Right, so I'm gonna. Correct. You won't see them in Aura tab. My bad. So here, notice it did try to do something. It did try to raise the instance. In fact, a bunch of background servers even started properly. Okay. Now, except remember, there are a few other things that we talked about yesterday that must be assigned ahead of time, right? For some parameters that must be assigned for individual instances, such as the thread number, the redo log, and the undo table space, right? So why don't we try it? Why don't we make a connection to our database, right? /oracle at rack-scan. You may want to get used to this because this is how you would make a connection to just about anything. Alter system set thread equal 1, sit equal blah, and scope equal SP file. Can we try that? Cool. Now, after I assign the thread number to 1 to blah, now incidentally, because I've already brought down ORCL1, so my redo logs are fine, my undo table space are fine, because they've already been created. If I try to add a third instance, obviously I need to go in and manually create a redo, manually create another undo table space so that the instance can make use of it. So let's take another look and see if it's allowing us to start up. Yes. All right. Recording some stuff. All right, so let's see what happens now. I'm doing a start instance and it hasn't bailed out yet, which is a pretty good sign. It might bail out later and complain about some other things. But the exercise here is to highlight, number one, when you're dealing with instances, remember, instance is a software component. Oracle knows all these magic to create instance because after all, it's just, background process, SP files, knowing where your control file is. And there's an instance now, it's called blah and PSEF, right? You can grep blah very easily. And you can see these are all the background process for blah. All right, so I do need to take a moment to record all these commands that I've executed so far, so you have a track record of everything. Okay. So first, if you need to find out, remember that's your Oracle base, right? From your Oracle base, you will find a diagnostic destination, or ADR, repository. Under diag, you will find RDBMS. That's a kind of product, which is database, followed by the database name, ORCL, followed by the instance name, which will be, in this case, blah. And then in your trace directory, you will find your alert uh, log, alert blah log. Now this would give you an idea of what stage did the database try to start in. Now additional commands, right, such as let's take a real quick look here. Okay. Now the initialization parameter that I set is instance number and also the thread number. Okay. This will make sure this instance called blah will control the thread 1 of the redo. Okay. So if I want to introduce a new instance such as blah, I need to have assign it a redo thread as well as a instance number. Now incidentally, these all works fine because I had an instance 1. I had one with a thread 1 when ORCL1 was created. Okay. And then subsequently starting the instance should succeed. Alright, so let's confirm it again. Status database. Alright, so now it's blah and ORCL2. This will stop that instance. It will remove the instance. We can bring it back to ORCL1 and there will be no harm done. Any questions so far, folks?